Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2, the Elite mod. Red-Rupee here calling the shots for you tonight as always as we head into this 2-on-2 on Median Cliff Mines. On the blue team starting us off, we've got HansMoleman as the Eldar Farseer with her dazzling array of buffs and support spells, alongside of Topi as the Chaos Sorcerer with his more aggressive spells and trickery. Then we have Phoenix as the Lord Commissar in a place that I can't get a good shot of him with the camera. And then DJ Raffa as the Ravener Alpha with his tunneling nuisance to round out the team. We've got both the swarmiest races on the red team here. We've got Imperial Guard and Tyranids, so let's be expecting to see a high body count this game. We can see in the early engagement there, we already had a nice Doom Bolt going off. He went ahead, popped the Tyranids back in there. Gonna heal up back at base, negate that Doom Bolt for the time being. Might buy Topi the time he needs to take middle away from him. We can see standard builds coming from Raffa and Phoenix. Double range squad into their support squad there. We've got the Sentinel and the Hormagaunts moving around. HansMoleman going for the triple Dire Avengers, which while not uncommon for a Farseer build, I'm sure the impetus of that decision was just simply knowing they were against Imperial Guard. Banshees are pretty well known for being nigh on impossible to use early game against Imperial Guard so long as the Guard player is using their Sentinel appropriately. So anyways, we've got a nice flank coming in here. Dire Avengers putting some pressure on those Guardsmen while everything is trying to push off the the Chaos Sorcerer, not the Imperial Guard Sorcerer. Looks like those guys are getting out of there, but they took quite a few losses right early on here. Lord Commissar not hesitating to force those Chaos Space Marines all the way back into the base. And it's kind of a split here. It looks like we've got HansMoleman won his engagement with the flank there, but the Sentinel and Tyranid forces are now moving in to help out. They did manage to break the power node for the Reds, but they have a lone generator going down up top while the Blues still sitting on just their nodes as they went for a more requisition-heavy opening. Warrior Broods coming out alongside of some Chaos. Havocs for our Chaos player. Havocs, of course, pretty much a staple for Chaos Sorcerer because you can move them under cover of your Siege Worship right there, so you can get them into tricky spots and kind of force opposing players to overcommit to a fight they don't know that they're about to lose. However, DJ Raffa's not hesitating at all, storming in there with Hormagaunts, Termagaunts, and Warrior Broods. Those Heretics need to be careful, though. A lot of Doom Blasts going off. The Warriors pull back at just the last moment, realizing they're getting flanked by the Farseer and her cronies. Grenades going off down here, forcing off the Lord Commissar, who's out here with just the hero and nothing else at the moment. Perhaps if he had pushed in a little bit more aggressively there, which of course is difficult with the energy shields going up in Tier 1, it's kind of tough to break through all that right away. Of course, you could send the Sentinel in, but if you get caught out of position, you take a lot of fire. 3 Dire Avenger squads can actually make short work of a Sentinel if you don't have the constant repair coming down. Artillery Spotter squad coming in, which is going to be great considering there are going to be 2 Havocs on the field. And even with these shields, you can use the Artillery Spotters to knock these Guardians out from behind their perfect cover of the shields right there. Havocs now moving into position, trying to lock down those Imperial Guard members, while the Dire Avengers doing a little cleanup work, calling in the Exterminators, trying to get those tunnels taken care of for the Ravener Alpha. Red team filling up their power nodes, while the blue team's still sitting with just a lone gen farm. You can see on the mini-map, Ravener tunnels going down everywhere as this melee pile goes in. Nice looking grenade. Might have done a little bit too much harm to that Havoc squad, but it did force off the Warriors and the Hormagaunts. Blue team looking pretty good in the center going into this engagement. Artillery Spotters are about on the field as that Sentinel falls back for some quick repair under fire. Smoke bomb going off, forcing off 1 squad of Dire Avengers. There are 2 squads of Heretics, however. I'm surprised we haven't seen one of these get upgraded with grenade launchers yet. I'm sure at least one of them needs to stay melee to deal with the Tyranid threat, but those 2 melee squads gonna be kind of useless against the current makeup of the Imperial Guard. But really, the worship, the utility of those squads for the Sorcerer is going to be key. More than direct combat at this point. With those 2 Havocs and also a shuriken cannon on the field. They can really lock down the center pretty easily. You can see DJ Raffa went ahead and using those tunnels to hop around wherever he can, harassing some power on the back line already. That'll probably continue throughout the game if he's on top of those tunnels. Oh no! I was about to say, those artillery spotters getting a little brazen, walking right up to a Guardian Weapons team, point-blank range. Tyranid's trying to approach, but realizing quickly there's just no chance with these setup squads all over the place. Farseer desperately trying to track down that Sentinel. And both of the Reds heading into Tier 2. VP's about even up here. The middle's really just been going back and forth here, but it looks like I venture to say that the Blues are going to have it locked down for the time being. They are a bit behind in tech. They won't be hitting Tier 2 anytime soon. HansMoleman will be able to hit it himself for much longer, but there will be a window, a nice gap here, I think, where Phoenix might be able to get a Chimera out onto the field or something along those lines. Once again, we've got Tyranid moving in on the gen farm. They do manage to get up on that Havoc, forcing it off. Not going to take the squad, but manage to get this power farm. At least going to pick off a generator there. They're trading gen farms, however, as the Blues are taking out Phoenix's natural right here as well. Got a Havoc set up. He's pretty much locked in his base for the time being until those artillery spotters can get a nice smoke bomb or mortar shell down on that Havoc. So both sides kind of playing individually. We do have grenade launchers now finally coming down over here on one of these Havoc squads. Phoenix going into Tier 2, quickly getting a Stormtrooper squad, which I don't agree with. I think he needs to get a Chimera or something out here on the field to really lock down the middle. Once he can get some constant map presence, I think for the time being there are plenty of setup teams, but if you keep that thing mobile with the help of those artillery spotters, a Chimera would have been, I think, a better choice in Tier 2. I feel like you only go Stormtroopers first if you're behind and you need anti-vehicle. They will, of course, be able to outrange and put some heavy fire into these Dire Avengers, but I think the fast vehicle would have been a better choice. But we'll see how this plays out. The Sentinel under lots of duress right now. We've got a Lord Commissar flare going down, making sure it gets out of there safely. And looking at tech right now, oh, DJ Raffa going for the quick vehicle. We've got the Tyrant Guard coming out. Topi still not even ready for Tier 2. He is way behind in tech. He spent a lot of resources early on. He got both Havocs. He got the Fire Sword. He got a Aspiring Champion and then a Grenade Launcher on this squad. So he spent a lot of power so far in the beginning of the game here. We've got, once again, Raffa constantly harassing this back line. However, both of the Havocs were ready for him this time. No power going down this time around. I hear grenades going down somewhere. Artillery spotters getting forced off. Squad preservation been very good through Tier 1. No one's really lost anything yet. So we've got escalating armies on both sides. The engagements are going to be getting more and more intense as we move into the second tier of this game. Sentinel doesn't look like he's getting out of here this time around. Grenade goes down. Gotta force off the would-be repair squads, and that Sentinel's not going home. Guardsman infantry squad. Pretty much all good, but that's all they have now is infantry. Really need to get a Chimera out there to support that heavy infantry-based build right now. And the great thing about getting a Chimera is that even if they do get a Bright Lance and maybe a Las Havoc, that's just two more suppressions teams they don't have to keep these big infantry blobs under control. So we've got Raffa moving eastward across the map, trying to meet up with his Imperial Guard counterpart. A pair of wacky alliances here, Imperial Guard and Tyranid, and then Eldar and Chaos. That's two kind of counterintuitive alliances, you would think. That Tyrant Guard, however, running, just charging in, knows there's nothing that they can do about it. Look at that spiky Tyrant Guard model. That's a mean-looking model right there. I think everything in Elite Mod is just spiky. There's a grenade that goes down for some reason. I'm not sure what he was trying to hit with that one. Maybe he thought that the Stormtroopers were going to retreat into it. I'm not sure what that was, but constant power going down once again. HansMoleman's sitting on a lot of resource. He hit Tier 2, but he's been spending, I guess, Yeah, I guess he spent a lot of power. Again, like, instead of going for a vehicle, which I think would have been more impactful. Oh, another nice grenade going down there. That one didn't whiff. But instead of spending power to get out a vehicle, I mean, he could already have a Wraith Lord on the field, but instead he went for the Dire Avenger upgrades, and he got himself the Singing Spear. So that's 40, and then 40. That's almost 85 power just going into Tier 2. So both sides kind of holding back on the vehicles, with the exception, of course, of DJ Raffa going for this sort of faux vehicle here with the Tyranid Guard. We do see one Las Havoc already upgraded and Siege Bolters on those Chaos Space Marines, so they'll be able to do some damage to this Tyranid Guard for the time being, but so long as Raffa doesn't overextend it, he'll be alright. Raffa's been making some great pushes, and I think, you know, doing a great job keeping the power down, but he hasn't been too supportive for Phoenix for the time being. Phoenix has had a hard time keeping his power up himself, and he's kind of been getting doubled from time to time from both of these armies. So while Raffa has been able to disrupt, they haven't really gotten a good push on center here the last couple of engagements. It's 423 to 385 though, and the VPs are sitting neutral. Little sneaky kept going down there by the Lord Commissar on the natural VP of the blue team. Farsi are doing pretty good with that Armor of Fortune and that Singing Spear. She can really kind of charge the front line and cause some bigger damage than one would expect from the Farseer. And then with that Fortune Armor, be able to heal up nice and quickly. Man, constant flanks coming in from these Tyranids. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. They're so locked down in the center of the blue team with their heavy ranged fire and all of these squads. And we have a Manticore on the field. Just as I mentioned, those forcing it off. The problem with the Manticore, though, is that while it's great at line breaking, it's really not going to have much of a field presence overall. I think you really want that. I just want to see a Chimera from Phoenix. He's got all this infantry. Like, if he could keep this stuff on the field and keep pecking away at these Eldar, I think they could take center without much issue. Wraith Lord is on the field now with the Shuriken Cannon upgrade. We can see a decap going down on one of the Blues power farms. Really, we haven't seen both gen farms up for either team for a while now. So no one's going to be heading into Tier 3 too quickly. Been a lot of harass from both sides. VP's still neck and neck as we're approaching the 13-minute mark in this game. Looks like we have another, oh no, I was about to say that was another Manticore strike, but instead it was the artillery spotters. Oh, and down they go! They were way out of position on that one. I'm not sure if he just hadn't been reinforcing those, as you only need one to deal with, drop those artillery strikes. But it cost him the squad there. Heavy weapon squad out here upgraded with the Las Cannon. Las Cannon can be really brutally effective with that Commissar Inspire. If this Wraith Lord maneuvers too far inward, he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble here. HansMoleman sitting with a huge pile of requisition. If they ever get that power node back over there by Topi, they might actually be able to fill up the nodes pretty easily. Some shots going down on that Wraith Lord, beating it up pretty well. Assault Kit Stormtroopers trying to move in here. Nice use of the Manticore strike here. Let's see if it goes down, and it does! At that close range with that snare, you know that that Wraith Lord was only moving one direction to get out of there through that choke point, and the Manticore simply and singularly canceled it out. So HansMoleman now with just so much requisition. Same thing with Topi. Both of them need to get something on the field here. Here comes a Dreadnought. That's going to be a good choice, I think. There's not much in the way of anti-vehicle on the field. All there is that that Las Cannon and, of course, the Manticore. So, of course, you don't really often see Chaos Dreadnoughts going for melee. Although, of course, again, to counter my own point, with the exception of the Chaos Sorcerer, as he does have that mass teleportability, he can send in that Bloodlust Dreadnought with the Mark of Horn and then pull it back into safety. No harm, no foul. Commissar Lord still sitting vanilla, stalling out a little bit against that Eldar force. Raffa, once again, I never see Raffa moving in from the normal side here. He's always popping out of his tunnel way back in the corner there and harassing this power and then trying to engage. Unfortunately, these Havocs have been shutting him down pretty well. He doesn't have a good answer for those yet, and with this Dreadnought coming onto the field, that's going to become even more difficult as time goes on. See those capillary towers starting to pop up everywhere. This map is going to be tyranniformed pretty well by the end of this, I bet. Between tunnels, capillary towers, and the tyranniformation.
We will stand against any enemy.
Triple Dire Avengers once again moving in. Man, look at the field already, right in front of that base. Nice shots down from that Manticore. Fortunately for those squads, that first shot didn't do any damage. Those energy shields will actually protect from the first rocket of the Manticore until they get knocked behind. A pair of nice grenades going down on both of these past two squads. Third one doesn't quite connect, getting some extra requisition damage in there. 392 to 326, and the VPs are just sitting still. Look at this Ravener Alpha, already with acid splatter, regenerate, and improved Hydralisk speed there. A Lictor on the field as well, as both of the Reds are in the Tier 3. I'm not sure if Phoenix is going to just be going straight for a big vehicle here or what. Mine's going down, forcing those Eldar to retreat. He could have stuck around, but he recognized if he did get forced off, which of course he eventually would, those mines were going to be right in his retreat path. Oh man, and we can see, just as those mines got activated and armed, one sad little Guardian got obliterated there on retreat. Could have been worse. Could have been the whole squad if he had stuck around a few seconds too longer. Oh my gosh, look at this Dreadnought. I was saying there wasn't much in the way of anti-vehicle on the field, but oh, it's going to get obliterated. It was way out of position. Let's see if it manages to escape. Oh no, it's turning around to fire. Get out of there, Dreadnought. Some Heretics go down. Ooh, and those Venom Cannons get a couple last shots on that Dread, finishing it right again as it goes through that choke point. I tell you what, more vehicles die in those choke points than I think anywhere else on this map. The Blues had actually given up on trying to hold their natural power. We're dropping some power in the center there just to catch up in tech. Everybody's Tier 3 now. Lehman Russ coming back onto the field. Lord Commissar, every time I check on the Lord Commissar, he's just up here by himself harassing people. Lictor getting right in everyone's faces before combat, jumping out of there. Ooh, and a Seer Council on the field. Ooh, finishing off the Lictor too. That's a sad story. That's not what you want to get flanked for on retreat, is a Farseer with the Singing Spear and a Seer Council. Oof. Spirit Stone's going to be really good at this point in the game, too. Once the Farseer levels up a little bit, these Spirit Stones get a lot more viable. They need 80 energy to be activated. They don't actually cost any energy, but you need to have the 80 to use that AoE heal. And once you get a couple levels, you can actually activate, say, Fortune or Fleet of Foot, and then still be able to activate that nice heal. Heretics coming onto the field for Topi. He had lost both squads of them at this point. Lost his Dreadnought. Both of the Walkers went down. Oh man, at some point it looks like the Manticore went down as well. We must have missed that. Warp Spiders coming onto the field for HansMoleman. Warp Spiders are so good, man. Gonna be hard to get them into a good position if he's planning on using that Haywire on this tank, as there is so much range supporting fire, but man, dual engagements happening all over the place. In the middle, ooh, it looks like a Guardian squad went down. I think that's what that was, yeah. One got away, one did not. The other is still healthy at home. But the Blues are starting to pull ahead finally after just a long, brutal back and forth through the early and mid games. We're heading into the late game portion here. Seer Council going to be able to deal with these Termagants pretty easily. Even with that Venomous Sax there, we see the assault leaps of those, or sorry, kind of the combat leaps there. I don't want to confuse terms. Assault leap, you kind of think assault Terminators. It's a combat leap. Leaping into combat. It's not quite an assault. I don't know. There's so many abilities in this game. They had to use every bit of terminology they can.
We do what we must.
Big push coming in from Phoenix, getting deep into enemy territory here, but everything's moving under cover of that Farseer gate right there. There goes the Haywire grenade, finding that Lemon Russ a bit unsupported with all the infantry way down south here. Commissar Flare will keep that Bright Lance from doing any more damage. That tank needs to get back into the fight, though. There's nothing else out here that can challenge it. I think if the tank moves in and starts taking shots at these Guardians, they'll be able to win the engagement pretty easily. But instead, he's just playing it safe. He's going to pull it back. There could be some other anti-vehicle on the field. You want to protect your tank investments. Oh, nice grenade going down once again. Man, Guardsman just not having a good day with grenades. What's going on up top? We've got burning heretics scaring off Tyranids. Got kind of a nice range blob going on here. The two Termagants hanging out with those Venom Broods. And a Swarm Lord coming onto the field.
The enemy has 200
That's not going to be
remaining.
fun for Topi at all. He does have a Predator out here. A Chaos Pred unupgraded currently. But that Swarm Lord is going to be a scary thing indeed. With those Venom Broods, that tank's not really going to be able to hang out and start pouring fire, as that Swarm Lord can eat so much damage before going down. Everything's moving in right now. Havoc suppressing everything. Some nice Doom Bolts going down, trying to get a Warrior Synapse Bomb there, but the Sorcerer stayed out there a second too long. Got taken out himself. Ravener Alpha out here on his own. Now, I think these Heretics are forced off. I'm surprised he didn't get maybe Burrow or something for that Ravener, although I guess if the Havoc isn't going to target it, he can just walk right up to it and force it off. Imperial Abyss going down right on top of these Termagants. They're stuck between an Imperial Abyss and a Chaos Predator. Oh, they hit the retreat button anyways, and I think that's going to be it for them. Oh, beautiful play there. That's exactly how you want to use a nuke too, man. You take an engagement that you have the advantage in, force them to commit, and then just when they think they're pushing up, you drop it right behind them. Catch them just the slightest bit out of position, and you can wipe a couple squads pretty easily. However, it might not be for naught. Oh, he tried to teleport his tank to a Sorcerer. There was a Swarm Lord lying in wait. I think maybe he meant to res his Sorcerer before he activated that. He thought he was going to be tricky and negate this sweet flank that Mr. Phoenix pulled off there, but his tank teleported right into the face of a Swarm Lord. That's the last place you want to be.
We will stand against any enemy.
So it's not looking good for the Reds as far as VPs. But those last couple engagements, I think, despite losing those Termagants, they managed to take out the Chaos Predator, which got immediately rebuilt.
Our Farseer has attained level 6.
Doing some good work on this side of the map. Might get another squad here, but not quite. Oh, and I guess I heard the Armor of Assyrian's coming down, so we're going to have Time Field, which, again, thanks to these choke points on this map, is going to be really effective. Predator just trying to come out there, but got forced off pretty easily. Layman Russ on the field. We've got a bunker on the backfield there, which I'm sure will probably get upgraded to a repair bunker. And there it goes, catching that Swarm Lord right in the middle of that sweet Time Field. Victor jumps right over it, though. I'm not sure how you jump through a slow time, but you can do it, apparently. I know how it works mechanically, but, you know, you kind of think if you jumped into it, even if you weren't on the ground, you're still going to get slowed down. But hey, gravity. I watched Interstellar over the weekend, and if anything, they taught me that gravity is capable of anything, so. Chaos Predator moving in under cover of Siege Worship. Doing a little bit of harass over here. Swarm Lord's a little beat up, but man, this army of DJ Raffa is looking pretty nasty with both a Swarm Lord and Electra. Two of the most troublesome Tyranid units on the field. Or that you can field, rather. They're obviously the nastiest ones on the field. Commissar Lord finally going to be getting an upgrade here. Layman Russ tank. Oh my god, look! There's a Flying Avenger! Oh! He got obliterated by that Layman Russ so hard that it messed up his warp field or something. I don't know. Physics! They're fun. Ravener Alpha being pretty nuts. Just charging in. He doesn't care. What's going on up top? It looks like Seer Council coming out here, finding this Commissar Lord, knocking him back. Continuously knocking him back over and over again. That actually kind of worked out for him because I think he'll be able to get out of there more easily now. Got a las cannon hanging out inside of that bunker. These Seer Council taking lots of fire. I don't think this is a repair bunker. I think this might actually be a med bunker. Looks like the Chaos got routed up north. Farseer in a lot of trouble, but she's going to be able to get out of there. Chaos Predator now moving in with those Twin Link las cannons, trying to put some hurt on that Lehman Russ tank. But I don't think it's going to quite be enough. Swarmlord, oh, did you see that? The Swarmlord moved behind the tank, trying to lock it off, and successfully manages to take it out. Fire Prison now dropping some shots into that Swarmlord, but it's going to have to get out of there. That Swarmlord's pretty quick as far as walkers go. You don't want to find yourself out of position over there. Lictor's keeping those Havocs from getting any slow shots down. Heretics moving in, trying to suppress it, slow it down. 354 to 124, and the Reds are starting to try to bring this back here after being at over a 200-point deficit. I mean, looking at the army tabs right now, it's looking pretty good for them. There is a Great Unclean one coming out. We're going to be bringing the Gross onto the field here in a moment, alongside of the more pretty units. We've got this beautiful, beautiful Fire Prison here, and then it's going to be alongside of a big fat Gross Guo. So I'd venture to say that the Reds have this locked down pretty well in the center. It's going to be the Blues' turn to really try to find the initiative here and figure out how to break this line. We've got another Lehman Russ coming onto the field. Let's see, how's HansMoleman's red looking? He's not quite there, but once he finds himself the red to get himself an Eldritch Storm, I think we want to see a time field maybe on at least one or both of these tanks if they hang out by this bunker. Drop the time field, then drop the storm right on top of them. Especially, again, with this choke point right here, keeping them from retreating too easily. Seer Council now moving in. Where is that Fire Prison? Fire Prison needs to get in here and take out this las cannon. Or rather, those Dire Avengers need to get in there and drop a couple grenades, perhaps. And, oh no! These guardsmen getting obliterated by their own mines. Don't walk on your own mines while you have units. Oh my gosh, it's brutal. Oh, the Seer Council's unintentionally obliterating those poor guardsmen. They're just rushing out of this bunker, though. It's like a clown car. They just keep on coming 3 by 3. Venom Brood. Not quite enough to scare off a Great Unclean one on their own. Fire Prison now moving into position. Needs to change to that spread beam, though. Oh, I think this... Oh, he drops the Eldritch Storm right here. Takes out the bunker along with the las cannon inside of it. And again, nice positioning there. Didn't quite get any squads except for the las cannon. I'd venture to say he might have wanted to save that for the Lehman Russ tanks. But taking out that med bunker is going to be equally important, making it a lot more difficult for those infantry squads to just stay on the field. Looks like Ceratopia tried to get a little cute up top, dropped down a Chaos Shrine, but that got taken out pretty quickly. 248 to 119. Ravener Alpha in a little bit of trouble, but the Guo doesn't turn to chase, so he's going to be all right. Between the Swarmlord and the Lictor Alpha, man, it's really difficult for the Chaos to deal with this. Oh man, we've got an epic tank chase here, but the Lehman Russ, oh, looks like he couldn't turn his turret around in time to take out that Fire Prism, and chased a little bit too far. I didn't catch that, but what it looked like is he tried to wrap around here, and the Fire Prism tried to tuck himself away behind this other tank wreck. And Lehman Russ went down for Phoenix. He's down to just one tank, and lost a lot of his infantry at this point as well, sitting on just 2 guardsman squads, and that's it. Oh no, Lictor gets flesh hooked right in, and I think he's going down. Let's see if he escapes. He's only got 40 HP. Doombolt's going down, not quite connecting though.
For the crossblood.
That was almost another Lictor down for Mr. Raffa. 2-0 cap for Reds, though, as HansMoleman's bringing some more Tier 3 hurt. He's got the Seer Council, he's got the Fire Prism. Next up, we've got the Avatar going bigger and bigger. Great on Cleveland, not very well camouflaged in the center here. I think they can see that one coming. Blurg! Oh, it's disgusting. About half a dozen guardsmen die from just being grossed out. They just gave up on life. They were just standing there at a victory point, and then out of nothing, a giant pile of vomit landed on their heads. Some tricky Spore Mine play going down here from the Barb Strangler Carnifex. I think the combination of the Barb Strangler and the Swarm Lord, like there's not a lot you can do about that without a vehicle. Chaos Space Marines getting a sneaky ninja cap there on the back. If the Blues can keep this victory point pressure up, they might be able to close this out. Despite, well, I was saying despite having a smaller army, but until Phoenix gets some more stuff onto the field, the Blues are actually kind of ahead right now. And there's really nothing that's challenging the Seer Council from him right now. Once that tank finds itself in the time field, it can't fire or anything till it gets out of it. And of course, those two infantry squads gonna do nothing against that Seer Council. Ravener goes down once again. More mines dropping down, trying to scare off those Dire Avengers with the Fire Prism. 198 to 65, though. The Reds need to get some victory points back, and quick. I think they've got what they need to do it. Oh, there goes the Wailing Doom. Not killing any warriors, but forcing them off. Swarm Lord moving in, Duo moving in, Avatar moving in. This is all the big Tier 3 stuff now in the center. Fire Prism finding itself in a little bit of trouble. Those mines that it avoided initially now spelling its doom, slowing it down on retreat. It's not going to be getting away from that Swarm Lord. Down it goes. That Swarm Lord racking up some kills. 30 points left, though, and the Reds don't have the victory points they need. Siege Bolters doing some damage to that Lictor while the Duo is moving in to protect the victory point. All of these big Tier 3 mega units just holding the ground. Swarm Lord is pretty beat up, though. Everything moving in under cover of that Farseer Webway gate once again. Avatar didn't manage to stop the middle cap, but the Swarm Lord in a lot of trouble as the time field went on once again. Raffa notices possibly a bit too late. Down it goes. I think that might be about it. Farseer goes down, but the red team army suddenly looking not very good. Oh no! Oh, I love it. Oh, guardsman bits everywhere. And that's the game. I venture to say that the red team threw in the towel right there. No GG called, but considering the current map position, they could have come back, but it wasn't looking very likely at all. I think they could have maybe tried, well, no, I think that was about it. By the time they got back out onto the field, the VPs would have ticked off too far. And they're really, Phoenix had nothing that could have dealt with the current Eldar makeup. And DJ Raffa was looking a lot less scary without either his Lictor or his Swarm Lord. But man, that was constant. That was just dual engagements happening all over the map pretty consistently. And just lots of dead stuff. Oh man, I love Nids and Guardsmen, man. They're just littering the field. There's just a whole trail all the way back to Phoenix's base. Oh my goodness. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. This is Red-Rupee. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, stop by the social media, all the fun stuff. I know you love hearing it. Send me new replays. I want to cast them. I'll be catching you guys next time.